5 fragrances that never went viral, but they strongly deserve to. Up first is the one that should go viral the most. I still have faith in it, and that is Versace Aeros Flame. That's right, I have 2 bottles of it, one of them being this 2-liter bottle that is halfway done. If that doesn't show you my love and passion for this fragrance, I don't know what will. My neighbor is currently mowing his lawn at an obnoxiously loud noise level, so I really apologize if you can hear that. Why didn't Aeros Flame go viral, but the original Aeros did? It all comes down to mass appeal, in my opinion. The reality is, the scent profile of the original Aeros, of Aeros EDP, and even Aeros Parfum is a lot more basic and easy for your average typical young man, teenager to enjoy. Apple, mint, vanilla. It was my first fragrance, it was my first fragrance love. So honestly, I'm not even surprised that it sells so much better than Aeros Flame. I just think from a perfumery standpoint, from a complexity standpoint, from the standpoint of someone that is a bit more into fragrances, maybe a little bit older and more mature, Aeros Flame is significantly better. You get more citrusiness, you get some spiciness, the blood orange that is in the opening and the dry down is so nice. And I love the spiciness here because it's not overdone, it's subtle, but it's just enough to make it a little bit more different, a little bit more fun, but it still has that original Aeros DNA that we all know and love. It still pulls compliments, the performance is still strong, it just doesn't get as many compliments as the original Aeros. It's just not quite as easy to like, and that is why I believe it never got the hype that I think it deserves. The second fragrance that deserves way more love and attention and hype than it got is Valentino's Intense. Just for the bottle alone, I'm surprised that this thing didn't get more hype. I believe it came out in 2016, and while it is a very popular fragrance, a lot of people know about it. In my opinion, from what I've seen on TikTok especially, Coral Fantasy, even Yellow Dream, Born in Roma Intense, they all get way more hype than Womo Intense, which I think is just criminal because this, in my opinion, is the best Valentino release by far. One potential reason that this didn't get the hype and attention it deserves is because of this fragrance right here, and that is Dior Homme Intense. They undeniably share a lot of similarities, but Dior Homme Intense is just viewed by most people, it seems, as the objectively better fragrance and thus the more popular fragrance. But I actually think, especially if you're a younger guy like myself, maybe in your 20s, even early 30s, there is a very high likelihood that you'll prefer the smell of Womo Intense. The reason I say that is because the iris is toned down a bit. It adds a more kind of gourmand, sweet element to the fragrance, probably from the tonka bean. It's still mature, it has a leather note, it's got the iris note, it is powdery. I just think that sweet gourmand aspect to it makes it a lot more wearable. It's more fun for me to wear personally, and I think if you're a younger guy, you should get Womo Intense over Dior Homme Intense. Just like Versace Aeros Flame as well, this is the least mass appealing Valentino fragrance that I have tried. Something like Coral Fantasy, even with the tobacco and fruitiness, is still going to be more mass appealing to the vast majority of the public out there than Womo Intense. This is definitely more for someone that enjoys slightly more complex smells like Aeros Flame. You know, a more mature guy, even if you're on the younger side, you probably have to have a more mature nose to enjoy something like Womo Intense. It's classy, it's elegant. To me, this is definitely a more date night special occasion scent, whilst a lot of the other Valentino releases, for example, the original Born in Roma, is definitely more designed for daily use, whereas Womo Intense, in my opinion, is definitely more kind of cold weather, fall, winter, going out at nighttime. Up next is a fragrance that you've probably never ever heard of. It is a new release from Xerjoff called Quatro Pizzi. Now, I had never heard of this fragrance until I found it in stores about 4 days ago, and I picked it up the next day. It was that good. Even when I looked it up, because it is, you know, such a new release, it didn't have that many reviews, but I've actually never smelled a fragrance like this. Coconut, rum, it's very green and herbally, but then it definitely has a more sweetness to it. It's really hard to explain. It is definitely quite a complex fragrance. In my opinion, it runs perfectly unisex. My mum loves the smell of it. She likes to take it from my collection and wear it. I've been wearing it heaps lately. The performance as well is way above average. I definitely don't see this getting the same hype as something like Naxos, Herba Pura. I don't think it has that TikTok mainstream appeal, and I think that is a real shame because, in my opinion, from what I think, this is going to fly under the radar, this release, and I think that's a tragedy because it smells so freaking good. If you're looking for a green, herbal, almost tea-like scent, but then it has that coconut sweetness to it, I'm trying to think of a fragrance to compare it to, and I'm sorry, I can't think of anything. If you're getting into niche fragrances, if you're looking for your first Xerjoff fragrance, add this one to your sample list. Quatro Pizzi. Pizzi, yeah. I don't know what that means, but look how cool the bottle is too, man. Oh my god, it's got a tassel on it. It just smells amazing. Take my word for it. This one is going to fly under the radar, and it shouldn't. The fourth fragrance that is extremely underhyped. This thing needs more love. It is Gucci, what is it even called? Gucci Guilty Extrait de Parfum. This is another new pickup for me, and it was very expensive. I believe it was around $220, and it smells a lot better than the presentation. That's one thing about this fragrance that is just really frustrating me. Something like Sauvage Elixir, it's a small bottle like this, but it looks powerful. It looks like it's expensive. It looks like it would be high quality. This smells amazing. This smells high quality. It is expensive, but the bottle reflects that of a fragrance that would cost in the $50 to $100 range, which is really frustrating, especially from a really kind of big classy brand like Gucci. You would think they would put a bit more effort into the bottle, but enough with that rant. What does this smell like? It smells like Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male, the original EDT, but if it was made niche and more expensive, essentially. In my opinion, this is kind of a sexy older man's fragrance. I could see like my dad rocking this in a suit. Not really my style of perfumery. However, I can really appreciate the quality of the ingredients, the blend, the uniqueness. They've taken the original Le Male. You get like a really, I don't think lavender is even a listed note, but in the opening, I just smell a ton of lavender. But then the dry down is buttery, vanilla, orange. I love the dry down of this fragrance. The dry down is so good that I've even worn it a few times, even though it's not really my type of scent. If you're an older guy watching this, maybe 30 and above, looking for a really strong powerhouse, bougie ass fragrance to wear for special occasions for the winter time, look at Gucci Guilty Extrait. This thing is definitely flown under the radar. It is a new release, so maybe it'll pick up more hype, but I just think because of the expensive price tag, because of the poor presentation, I haven't seen a lot of marketing for it. I don't really see it blowing up, but it definitely deserves to, especially for that older market. Before I get to my final pick of a fragrance that deserves way more love, hype, and attention, two honorable mentions. Two fragrances that would make this list. I just don't own them, so I don't feel qualified to talk about them. First, 1 Million Elixir. Such a good, sweet, sexy vanilla fragrance. It is definitely one of the more popular ones on this list, but I still think it's underrated, at least compared to the original 1 Million. Second honorable mention would be Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male, or not Le Male, Scandal Parfum. All the Le Males get the attention though. Le Male Parfum, Le Beau Le Parfum, Le Male Elixir. No one talks about the Scandal still. Even Scandal EDT is a great underrated gem. Definitely check those two out as well. Okay, the final pick in this video is Hugo Boss The Scent Elixir. When I want something sweet, sexy, the atomizer just popped off. One sec. When I want something sweet, sexy, then with a touch of kind of maturity to it, I wear Hugo Boss The Scent Elixir. So we're going to wear it right now. 1, 2. Fragrantica, they've only released 3 notes for it. It's like red pepper, lavender, and something else. The red pepper, you can definitely notice. It is a little bit spicy. I noticed some of the reviews said it just smells like a generic clubbing fragrance. I couldn't disagree more. I think it is definitely a level up above something like Versace Aeros. To me, it smells like a mix of Strong With You Intensely and Azzaro The Most Wanted Parfum. It's hard to explain. It like someone young could rock this, but then if a 40-year-old wore it to the pub or something, it wouldn't even be, you know, that strange of a thing to do. I feel like this kind of works for a lot of different age ranges, and it's a hidden gem. I wear it all the time. Performance as well. It is an extra elixir, and it does hold up to that name. I get around 8 to 9 hours longevity with moderate sillage. It's a great fragrance. Definitely check this one out. That is going to wrap up this video on 5 fragrances that never went viral, but they definitely deserve to. These are some hidden gems. Definitely make sure you check them out. You will not be disappointed. Like, subscribe, tick the bell so you get notifications. Costs you nothing, but it helps me out a ton. Have a great rest of your day. Love you.